we're going to make backpacks. So I'm going to come up here and cut. I like these saws that cut on the backstroke because it's like using a funky knife that just cuts anything. Boom, there. Now, if this works out right. All right. And I make a notch. It's a little less than halfway that stick, so I'm going to go out a little bit. Make a notch, and that's going to be our halfway point. And then, okay, so this is about halfway around from where the split is, and I just wanted a little bit of a mark to remind me where I am. This is, I'm gauging the size of the bottom that I want. So I'm coming up about 3 inches from the center in either direction. All right, and then locate my mark on the split part. Take that gouge. Oh boy, I hope this bends good. Roll her over. So the other, same thing again. You're hoping for a nice smooth arch here is what I'm aiming for. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but I try harder every time. Okay, so it's, if you saw it all flattened out, it would look kind of like a football or something. By doing this this folding method, you take a piece of bark this big, you know, off a tree this big around, you're basically doubling it. So this works out nice to have it supported on the two ends like that, at least to start this operation. With your thumbs right there at the where the gouges come together, kind of spread it out, and then at a certain point you push down, kind of slow, give it kind of time to do its thing. Can't rush a good thing. What you're hoping for is that it bends and doesn't split out on you. And this, so far, is playing nicely. Okay, we have success. So you can see inside it folded up pretty nice and didn't crack or anything. I'm going to open it back up since now we've got it like used to the idea of what it's supposed to do. And I'm going to take my knife and clean up the edge, get it to fold together nicer. Trim that edge up. Okay. I like to put a strap around it. At this point, you know, you're kind of evaluating whether you want to trim it back some more. I could trim down the sides a little bit if I wanted to, but you know, you lose volume in there, and that's no good. So this one is, I dare say at this point, perfect. I was blessed this weekend to have been the recipient of this huge white oak tree, and I spent a long time splitting it out. So this is a piece of that. It's fresh, it's green, it's white oak is like a basket wood, and we're going to split it up and see if that's true. It should be. I've used it before. Splitting a piece of wood, ideally, doesn't always work out this way, but ideally you want equal mass on both sides of your split so that your split will run straighter. And because this end is thicker, you know, I gave this side a little bit more length to make up for the difference. And hopefully I get on one grain plane and it chases down the way I want it to. Pretty good. So we do it again. A smaller version of a fro and a smaller version of a club. So nice. Okay, I'll make sure I'm going the right way on the grain. So again, trying desperately to be in the middle, balanced split. Ta-da! I think we're getting to it. Yeah. So now, the tricky part is I gotta reduce this down small enough to get it inside. Pretty good. Pretty good. Line those edges up just right. Oh, baby. All right, so now we've got this thing all wrestled together and it looks pretty good. We're gonna drill the holes down either side of the seam so that we can sew it up with rawhide. Got my trusty dusty little egg beater drill because really that's all you need, and we can still listen to the birds. I got the holes drilled down here. Got the rawhide. We're going to cut a piece that I hope is the right length. Rawhide's kind of precious when you cut your own. This is deer, by the by. I'm going to cut it a little more than 3 times the length, since you got to go over, across, or yeah, 3 times should do it. And maybe I'll have extra, and maybe the next one I'll cut shorter. Or maybe the next one I'll cut longer because it came up too short. Oops. So yeah, I keep the, for a short term, you know, while we're using it, I soak the rawhide. You can't obviously keep it soaked because it will just rot, but you can soak it, dry it, soak it, dry it, soak it, dry it. It doesn't seem to affect it too bad. Probably shouldn't have had the shot glass in my hand when I was saying that.
Talking about being soaked.
Yeah. So here we are. This is the end that I'm going to tie the knot in. And I do a figure 8 knot, twist it over like you were saying, that ribbon sticker that you see, and then back over and down through the little rabbit hole, bunny hole. So it looks like a figure 8. So now you cinch it up good. And that's a knot that should not, it makes a big knob. I make a needle out of a piece of wire bent in half. That's all it is. The 2 ends, I file them down so that they're, each one of them individually is round. You don't want any sharp edges that are going to like grab a piece of your bark as you're trying to poke it through the holes. Cut a hole through the side of the rawhide, not through the front to the back, but actually trying not to make a little hole in my finger at the same time. That generally won't rip out because that inner leather, rawhide, skin, whatever you want to call it, is really tough. The outer stuff, not so much in comparison. The first couple are hard because you got to feel your way around down there and find the hole. Whoop. I hold the needle on the tip of my finger and find the hole, come up through. This side's easy. Can't believe how nice this bark is. This is a good one. When you pull, you know, you've done a couple of stitches and you're pulling like this each time you come through, you're not really tightening this because it'll relax and let up. You're tightening this. And that's how it goes. As you move up the seam, you're always tightening like the second stitch back every time you cinch up on it. What I'm going to do is actually pop this out for a minute, and I'll put it back in. The last stitch I do double real binds on it. See, with an overhand knot, if you can get this to stay up where you want it, it will tie up tight to your where you want it. I'm going to go underneath there, and maybe I'll do one more just because I can. And these shorter pieces of rawhide don't go to waste because I save them for small packs and things like that. And there, that's out of the way. Got both sides sewn up, and now we're going to sew the rims on, like this one here. What I'd done before was I made these bands. These were going to be the outer rim bands, but I had shrunk them up nice and small and stuck them inside to hold the form of the basket, and that worked out really well. And now I take the same band and I'm going to apply it to the outside like this is and sew it up. What we're going to do is use the spoke shave to go around the edge here and chamfer the rim so that the rawhide has a nice smooth wrap and doesn't have a sharp corner to wear on through the years of use this will provide. While I had this rim inside supporting the drying process of the pack, I took the opportunity to run my pencil around the top of it to get a, you know, because you can see it's not even, right? So at least I have a bit of a guideline here. Okay, so I've got the rims all chamfered off nice, and I chamfered the inner rim of the basket itself. So I'm just going to kind of make a mark here with the pencil. Okay, so we've got the holes all drilled all the way around the rim now. Generally what I do is where the overlap is, I put that on the side of the basket that's going to be towards your back. So it's more for the strap to catch onto. And in this particular case, there's a big old knob right there, which you wouldn't want up against your back. So I'm going to put the hoop on this way. Once again, we've got our rawhide soaking bucket of water. This strand of rawhide is moose, so it's a bit thicker. And the rim takes a lot of abuse beating around, getting in and out of cars or up, you know, camping, whatever you're doing. So I use a thicker rawhide. I'm going to do 3 times around this again as well. Let's see, enough or not. I don't want a big gobby knot up here where you're reaching in and out, taking things in and out of your pack. So I'm going to actually tack the side down, coming up through the, yeah, hardly a knot at all. Let the stitching begin. Hi. Okay, so we've finished the stitch around. I've come in through, and tied a knot. I didn't want to tie a big gobby knot, but that will shrink down and pull it tight. It'll be all right. And then to take set this down through here, pull the tail like that, and I'll cut it off. That'll hold it out of the way. We're all together now. All it needs is a strap.